Alright guys, how's it going? It's been a few days since I've been on YouTube, so I have to do what I have to do, right? Now, there's no real direction for this channel, I just want to be clear. Most of the time when you see my ass on here, it's going to be me ranting, so that's just what it is. Now, I want to address something that one of my friends brought up, and it's been bugging me a lot. But I finally came to a realization on it, and he is apprehensive to bite, but at the same time, he knows exactly where I'm coming from, and there's no way around it no matter how hard you try. Now, this was his hang-up. He told me he could buy into Flat Earth if. Now, this is his if. He told me, I can understand looking up at the stars and you telling me that those are just lights. He was like, but how do you explain everything, including all the way down to the molecular level? Why is that all spherical? And this bugged me for a long time because he's right. Every model we see of an atom operates almost exactly like a solar system would. Almost identically. To the point where it's pretty confusing when you really start to think about it. Like, everything in the natural world that we observe behaves the same way. Like, we can take inferences from what we see in one species, like a plant on this planet, for example. We can take a look at how that cell in a plant operates, right? And we can take some of our observations from a tree, for example, and just based on our observations on that tree, we can infer exactly how a cell is going to operate, say, in a pig, okay? That's just an example. And so his premise was, if everything we see at a molecular level is spherical, then how do you come to the conclusion that the Earth is flat? And that was his major hang-up on being able to buy into the flat Earth. And it made a lot of sense. But then I came to the realization that I myself have never seen an atom. So I started doing a little research, and it turns out that no scientist has ever physically seen an atom. So we run into the same exact problem that we run into when it comes to believing in space. We have to take what other men say as fact without having any real observable data. Like, yes, we can look at the world around us and say this is how a cell operates, but nothing inside of that cell tells us that the way we perceive an atom or subatomic particles is spherical. That was all an assumption. It's all an assumption. It's all a theory. All of it. Nobody's ever seen an atom. Nobody's ever seen a proton. Nobody's ever seen an electron, a neutron, none of that stuff. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever seen a subatomic particle. Like, they like to tell us at the LHC, Large Hadron Collider, right, that they've observed subatomic particles, and to a certain degree, they'd like you to believe that's true, but they themselves didn't observe those subatomic particles. A computer program observed those particles and gave them data to look at. They didn't physically observe those particles coming into existence. All of those particles last a fraction of 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 a second. So how are you going to tell me that you've seen anything? You haven't. You've just looked at data points given to you by a computer program that you yourself designed to give you those data points. So it all comes back to belief. So this is what it boils down to for me, right? Is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you that I believe the Earth is flat. And that's a belief. I can't prove the Earth is flat. I'll be the first to admit that. It's a belief. Now you, if you believe in a spinning ball, that's fine. But I want you to admit to me that it's nothing more than a belief. Because that's all it is. It's a belief. You do the same thing I do with the Bible. You take a book written by men that you've never met, that you're never going to meet. You take their words based on a foundational understanding of something you know nothing about, and you hold that on a pedestal of truth. That's what you base your belief on. And that's fine. But you have to admit that it's a belief. So just be willing to do that if you want to talk to me, and then we can have a logical conversation. Now, like I said to you, I can't prove the earth is flat. The very same way you cannot prove to me that the earth is a sphere. The only difference between the two belief systems, and they're belief systems. You believe in a geocentric earth. And I'm going to say that that earth is flat if you believe in a geocentric earth, because, let's be honest, if you're going to say you believe in a geocentric earth, that's probably why, okay? So believing in a geocentric earth, right, that's a belief. Believing in a heliocentric earth is a belief. But this is where it gets complicated. I'm going to venture to tell you that my belief has a better foundation than your belief. You cannot prove to me that the earth is not flat. No matter how hard you try. If you throw away every outside source that you have and rely on just yourself, you yourself cannot prove to me that the earth is not flat. You can't, no matter how hard you try, because I've spent 3 years trying. However, I can prove to you that the earth is not a spinning ball, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I can prove to you that A, it's motionless. I can prove to you, B, that the stars are spinning above our head. I can prove to you that there's no curvature anywhere. I'm pretty sure I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that nobody's ever landed on the moon. If all of those things are true, what else do you personally have to believe that the earth is a spinning ball? Because if any one of those things is true, at the very least, you don't live on a ball. Either that or the ball is a whole hell of a lot bigger than they've told you. So this is where I draw the line in the sand. Is when people that believe that the ball is spinning and we're living on it, and people in Australia are upside down compared to me, from my perspective. If you're not willing to admit that that is a belief, then there's no point in having a conversation. Because nothing in this world is more fundamental than observable and repeatable experiments and anecdotal evidence. If I can look at something every single day and tell you to go look at the same thing, and you can see it every single day, then that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's the baseline, right? Regardless of what we believe, if we go out and we look at the horizon every day and it always rises to eye level or damn near close, right? And never observe curvature left to right or horizontally, then how can you argue any other fact than that the horizon has no curvature? Like, that should be the baseline for all observations. No human being should be able to argue that. Now, you can sit here and tell me that it's refraction and all this other nonsense, but then I want you to give me an experiment that proves that shows me empirically, with an experiment I myself can do, somehow that I can repeat that same exact proportion and level and percentage of refraction on a day-to-day basis with an experiment I can do every single time that gives me the same exact results. You can't. What people need to stop doing is assuming they know everything, because a lot of flat earthers do this too, and it pisses me off. Any flat earther that sits there and tells you that there's a dome, stop talking to them. Don't waste your time. They don't have a fucking clue if there's a dome or not. Anybody that's going to tell you that it's an infinite plane and that there's continents beyond us, if they're going to sit there and tell you that that's fact, don't waste your time talking to them, man, because they're not worth it. The same way, if somebody's going to tell you that we went to space and sit there and ridicule you when you start bringing up all the freaking anomalies that, like, I can give you, and they laugh at you, there's no point in continuing that conversation. It's not going to go anywhere, right? If 33% of millennials don't believe the Earth is a spinning ball, then it should tell you the paradigm's changing and there's nothing you can do about that. It should also tell you that there's evidence out there, no matter what you believe to the contrary. Like, there's a reason people are starting to believe this. Joe Rogan, on his website for the longest time, had it on his schedule that he was going to have Eric debate Neil deGrasse Tyson over flat Earth. And now all of a sudden it's off of Joe Rogan's page. Neil deGrasse Tyson won't touch it. He won't go on Joe Rogan and actually debate Eric. Nobody will talk to Eric, like actually talk to Eric, right? I've only seen one panelist of scientists get up and try to debate against flat earthers, and they got absolutely destroyed. We're talking about 3 PhDs from college, university over in Britain, in the UK, went up against a panel of 4 flat earthers, and you know what? That debate lasted 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I want you to ask yourself this question. Should anybody who believes in something as nonsensical as the flat earth be able to get on stage and be able to debate somebody who just spent 4 years getting a PhD in particle physics? I mean, a flat earther shouldn't be able to debate somebody like that and be able to hold their own, should they? No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't be able to sit there and debate somebody who's dedicated their life to a physical science. Shouldn't be able to do it. That right there is why Neil deGrasse Tyson will never, ever get on stage and debate anybody. I don't care who it is. I'd even go as far to say as I'd pay to see Mark Sargent debate Neil deGrasse Tyson, even though I can't really get other than his subject experts. Just being honest with you. But like, if Mark can get on there, and I have confidence he could hold his own with Neil, there's something wrong with the heliocentric model. If somebody like Mark Sargent could get on TV or on the internet anywhere on a panel and debate Neil and win, like, they should tell you we're onto something. I just don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. You need to wake up and at least look into it. What do you have to lose, man, besides a few hours of your life? Right? You should be able to go out and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the earth is fucking round. No problem. No problem, right? Nope, 3 years later, I'm still sitting here, couldn't do it. So I'm going to leave you with this. If everything that you hold dear is a belief, should you not question it? Should you not want the foundation of your life to be in truth? Why are you so quick to turn your back on your own observations? Let me ask you this. Do you think another person is more trustworthy than the observations you make with your eyes every single day? The answer to that question is yes, I can't do anything for you. If your answer is no, then look into this. Like I said, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you'll wake up one day and realize that the earth is flat and you'll get ridiculed by your friends and family. It's the worst that's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, man, there's not one shred of evidence that can prove that the earth is a spinning ball. People will sit there and tell you Foucault pendulum, yep, that proves the earth's a spinning ball. That's bullshit. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why it's bullshit. Because Foucault's pendulum, they tell you that it makes a perfect circle every 24 hours, no matter where you set it on the globe. And I'm going to tell you right now, according to the heliocentric model, that shouldn't be possible. In order for a Foucault pendulum to rotate perfectly in 24 hours, you have to either be exactly on the North Pole or exactly on the South Pole in order for that to happen. Because if I try to do an experiment with a gyroscope to prove the Earth's spin, I have to take into account my longitude and latitude before I start that experiment. Otherwise, I'm going to get all kinds of screwed up results. It doesn't matter because a gyroscope doesn't detect any precession. What I'm trying to tell you is, the Foucault pendulum shouldn't work everywhere on the planet. It should only work in 2 locations. Think about it. That's why I'm saying common sense and your own observations are all you need. Have a great day, guys. That's really all I got for you. God bless. If it wasn't for Flat Earth, I wouldn't know my creator. And that's what this boils down to for me. If I can get on YouTube and wake even one person up to the fact that, let's stay, guys.